Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here, my WWE Payback review for tonight, Sunday, May 17th, 2015. Of course, taking place for Baltimore, Maryland at the Royal Farms Arena. Now, before I talk about this very fun pay-per-view, I'll say that much better than Extreme Rules. Of course, we all know now, it's interesting, we're going to have 3 pay-per-views within a 6-week span, with only 2 weeks in between. As we know, after this, we got Elimination Chamber in 2 weeks. Only on the network for $9.99. Or free, because it's still made. And then, of course, 2 weeks after the Chamber, we got Payback's proper follow-up, Money in the Bank. Now, having 3 pay-per-views in a 6-week span with only 2 weeks in between them, it's interesting. You know, it kind of... You don't have time to build it. You don't have time to build a pay-per-view with only 2 weeks in between. But despite all that, Payback with little or no hype actually was a pretty good pay-per-view tonight. It was actually, I think, a lot more fun than Extreme Rules. There's only maybe 2 clunkers. Actually 4 if you count the pre-show matches. Probably the worst pre-show I've ever seen. The match was just... But the main call was great. Fun main event. I'll say it now. Yes, there was interference in the main event. But in my mind, the interference didn't ruin the main event like it did in Extreme Rules. I'll kind of explain why as we get to it. Probably my favorite match of the night, and I knew it was going to be. As you see by the subtitle. Fun fatal 4-way. It was the best match also. Second best was probably the tag team match. And I actually kind of like Rusev Cena's match. Because I like the fight expert. Probably the best match they've ever had. That's why I'm giving this pay-per-view a 7.0 out of 10. So like I said, it was fun pay-per-view. There was only a few clunkers. But everything, we'll say everything besides a couple got like over 3.0. So, let's kick off with the pre-show. Like I said, probably the weakest pre-show I've ever seen. First things first, we had a bonus match. Stardust against R-Truth. Now, we've seen a little feud building. I'll say this. It wasn't as stupid as that match on Raw they had where Cody Rhodes / Stardust pulled out those fake spiders because of the whole R-Truth fear spiders thing. It wasn't as stupid as that match, but stupid it was nonetheless because you had stupid comedy in that match. It was just stupid. R-Truth won when it moved 1.5. As in like it was an okay. You know, usually the pre-show matches are pretty decent, but this is like the weakest I've seen it. It was okay. It was like not. It was like okay. It was like nothing special. Shipping on Raw or SmackDown or Superstars with main event. Same with this next pre-show match. Macho Mandow with Axelmania, the Mega Powers, the Meta Powers, what you want to call them, taking on the Ascension. Now, Mandow, in my opinion, WWE fucked up again when it comes to booking. Damien Sandow, you know, he had so much momentum on his side after breaking off from Miz. I thought they were going to really capitalize it and let him be himself again. But no. They're taking him to where he fucking was before. Getting him over by wearing ridiculous outfits. Screwing up his momentum. But hey, that's what WWE likes to do. They like to fuck up momentum and screw it up. Like they did the Ryback. Back in January, Ryback had that great speech, and I thought he had a big push going for him. And maybe a big feud against Rusev, who I thought was going to lose to Ryback in Mania. But then, momentum shifted when Ryback had storyline fired, never regained his momentum, and tonight, instead of feuding for a mid-card title, he's taking on Bray Wyatt tonight. Get to that match, probably one of the only clunkers. At the card. The main card. So WWE's not new when it comes to fucking up people's momentum. And they fucked up momentum for Damien Sandow big time. You know what I mean? I hope Sandow can recover, but it's just, fuck. Momentum may have slipped. Not only because, A, he's back to wearing silly costumes again and playing another character instead of himself. Now, with WWE not letting him be himself. Another thing, getting destroyed by the Ascension. Yes, another group that's been badly mishandled by WWE, as much as Sandow has been properly mishandled. Axelmania, the gimmicks, it's fun, but it's getting old. Although I did like Axel's costume. He had the whole Hulk regalia. And Mandow's outfit was good too, but still, let them be themselves. Same with Stardust. Like, the characters are fun, but it's just they need to be themselves to get them all over. They're not learning that lesson yet. Screwing up people's momentum big time. So Ascension won 1.5. It was basically a squash. Double team moves leading up to the Fallen Man. I hope Ascension can pick up some speed from this. But, you know, WWE creative. They make some good moves, they make some bad moves. He takes the good and the bad and the ugly. The WWE. So after that week pre-show, let's get on to the main card. King Kong with Sheamus against Dolph Ziggler. The match was as good as their Extreme Rules match. Maybe a little bit better because there was no stupid stipulation. Although there was a pun-to-pun payback. Because Dolph Ziggler did get Sheamus to kiss his ass after all tonight. Instead of a stinky face, Sheamus got a ziggy face. At one point, Sheamus was cold and Ziggy put his butt cheek up. That was only comedy part, but the rest of the match was pretty good. As good as the Extreme Rules match. Very good action, some decent moments in there. Some of my favorite moments in the match. You have both guys going head to head. But, like, Dolph had a big fury, and then he got hit by Sheamus really hard in the knee. And then Sheamus really targeted that knee a little bit. A lot of people have knees. Storyline injuries, OE injuries. But after getting pummeled by the knee, Dolph Ziggler came flying back, some big moves. He did deliver the famous at one point, trying for the zigzag, some great moves, great action from both these guys. But then the ending was kind of a weird ending. It was like, blink and you miss. As Ziggler was going for a big move, he tried to go for a big move against Sheamus. They butted heads at one point. Cut Ziggler's head wide open. His head was cut open, big time. And after his head was busted open, referee almost wiped the blood off. Just like that, here comes a bull kick. 1-2-3 victory for Sheamus. Kind of a quick ending. That's why I'm only giving it a 3.0. Because the match was decent, but the ending was kind of like a quick ending. You know, the match was great. Better than, as good as Extreme Rules, but still. Now, on to our next matchup. It's kind of weird it was a second match. But it was not only was it the second match of the card, second best match of the night. Because last month, it was the match of the night. This time, they had another match to go up against. But it was still a fun match. Nonetheless, the best 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. New Day defending against Tyson and Cesaro. I love the match at Payback. You know, before Payback. Extreme Rules. I love the match in Extreme Rules. And we've seen some great 2 out of 3 falls tag team matches in the past. Especially last year with the Usos against the Shield. And this best out of 2 out of 3 falls was actually back in the crowd. Baltimore crowd, but it was pretty good tonight. Yeah, no CM Punk chance. Yeah, they're over it. Anyway, fun matchup, some great fast-paced action. There was so many moments. So many great moments. There was a big, epic, a spear clothesline move that kind of botched the. It was Biggie and Cesaro. They kind of botched the landing to that clothesline over the top. It was a nasty, nasty fall. So Cesaro and Kid picked up the first fall after the double team swing and drop kick from Kid. And then the second fall, we saw Xavier, who was outside. It was Biggie and Kofi representing, of course, the Freebird War. Any 2 out of 3 could defend the title. Because the 3 guys, 2 out of 3. Xavier got involved big time. He even got a big slapping from Tyson and Natalya. And Xavier would be kind of distracting to cause the 1-2-3 for the second fall, making it even. And New Day, who'd have thought their heel turn would be as good as we all thought. I was hoping they would turn heel. I thought it'd be Nation Domination heel, but I love their heel turn. I love them embracing the heel turn. I love what they did at the beginning of the match. Dissing Baltimore with Adam Jones from the Orioles. It was a great. They got some major heat. And more heat with the ending of the match in the third and decisive fall. It was a great action back and forth. Great back and forth. Like, Cesaro was going for the swing. He had a big powerbomb move. Tyson was going for a sharpshooter. And then with Kofi became a catalyst as Kofi was nailing Cesaro on the ropes. Where got distracted for a second. And Kofi played a little switcheroo with Xavier. Xavier pulled a switcheroo. On the Demolition, I'm using that analogy, which I'll get to that while I'm explaining it. With everyone looking, like I said, Xavier basically stole the match. He wasn't even a legal man. He was, like I said, outside the ring. 1, 2, 3, switcheroo, bang. Because he and Kofi has the same kind of hairdo. New Day stole the match. Total heels again. Still in the victory with a switcheroo from Xavier behind the referee's back. It's almost like Demolition. You know, it was ironic. It was 25 years ago. In a best out of 2 out of 3 false match. Demolition against the Hart Foundation. And Demolition had 3 guys. But only 2 were allowed at ringside. And 1 was underneath the ring. That was Axe. And unlike Demolition, who had a 3rd man, switcheroo, they did not win the match with interference from Legion of Doom. But this time around, the switcheroo with the 3rd guy actually worked for the New Day. But I think to make sure the 3rd man does not get involved, the Elimination Chamber will prevent anything, as we will have a tag team Elimination Chamber match at the Chamber match pay-per-view in a couple weeks. By the way, 3.5 for the tag team title match, by the way. So we know Elimination Chamber pay-per-view will contain, yes, it's now official, it will contain a match for the vacated IC Championship in the Chamber match itself, as I predicted on my Raw review last week. It was made official after my Raw review went live, so I think we all knew that was going to happen. But the big surprise is they're going to have a tag team Elimination Chamber match. How's that going to work? Here's what I'm thinking. It's going to involve 2 teams. 3 teams. 1 team is in 2 separate pods. And then 2 teams start. 1 guy from each of the remaining 2 teams start, and the remaining partner is in the pod. We'll see how they work it out. David said all 3 of the New Day may fit in the pod. Maybe an extra large pod. Who knows how they're going to do it. We'll see how that works with the first ever tag team Elimination Chamber match for the tag team titles. That should be a whole lot of interesting. Something new, different. Than just having the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match in the chamber, which they've had many times. But it's still interesting. They're giving the tag team titles and IC title match the Elimination Chamber treatment. It's kind of cool. Even though, once again, like I said in my Raw review last week, that it's in fucking Corpus Christi. The worst WWE crowd ever. They should have had it in Baltimore. Baltimore crowd's great. Anyway, with probably only 2 clunkers. Ryback and Bray Wyatt. Talking about momentum. Both these guys have lost momentum big time. I talked about Ryback's momentum being lost. After I thought he was going to get a big push. After teasing a few of Rusev. And not having that come to culmination. And Bray Wyatt's lost his way a bit. But he's still doing some great promos. And his entrance is still one of the best entrances around. You know, I love that entrance. You know? And the match itself was just okay. There was one cool spot. The only cool spot was Bray Wyatt was doing his big splash he always does in the ring. He did a big splash on Ryback outside the ring. And it was very brutal. And it kind of hindered Ryback for most of the match. And to be honest, I didn't really pay attention to most of this match. I'm a disc check. I had to take a business call. So I missed the majority of this match. So that's why I'm only rating it at 2.5. I did see the ending. Ryback was going for his big move. But then he got countered by Bray, who took off a ring post cover, nailed Ryback into it, in a 1-2-3 pin. So that's why I'm only giving it a 2.5, because I didn't see the whole match. I saw bits and pieces. So I couldn't really judge the match. I could give it an NA because I couldn't see the whole match. But I want to rate it anyway. So I gave it 2.5. And to me, from what I did see, it was an okay match. You know, but like I said, I missed a lot in that match because I was taking care of business. You know, Gig called me late at night. So, hey, here he comes. Now, on to the 3rd best match of the night, which I'm actually surprised. John Cena versus Rusev for the United States Championship in an I Quit match. This match proved one thing. This should have been an Extreme Rules, not the fucking Washington Chain match. I thought it would be an I Quit match at the pay-per-view Extreme Rules, or at least Last Man Standing. But this match proved this should have been a match at Extreme Rules. Way better than Extreme Rules. The best match yet. It was a fight. I have to give him credit. It was a fun match. For being a Cena match, it wasn't that bad. I actually dug it. You know, there was some great weapon uses, even though some of the moves were predictable. Like, when Cena and Rusev were by the stage, I was like, Rusev's going to try to do a big move on Cena, and then Cena's going to counter and F you him on top of the pyro. because Rusev was eyeing the pyro. Predicted that. I knew that. I saw that coming. And that's what happened. Rusev got FU'd on the pyro. Despite some predictability, it was still a fun match. And both the guys were just beating the crap out of each other. It was just a fight. They were just... They couldn't get each other to quit. The ending may leave some head scratching. I've been saying for weeks that Lana would be a factor in the match. She was, but not too much. Although she affected the ending. For most of the match, Rusev had her sitting down on a chair. She only got up a few times, especially when Rusev got FB'd on the pyro and she just stood from the wing from the outside. And Rusev did have the anklet at one point. He didn't have the anklet on John Cena. But Cena passed out. But the match didn't end because Cena had to verbally say, I quit. Apparently, passing out doesn't equal surrender. So then Rusev, being angry, ripped up another ring apron like Bray Wyatt did. But instead of just whipping up the apron cover, he ripped up the entire ring post. They used barricades. They used tables. They used even one table that almost didn't break. That's the theme. There was 2 matches that used tables, and they had to do the moves twice to break the table. Because the first time they did a move, the table didn't break. And the second time it did. It happened during the main event as well. And there was some few botches tonight. Tag team matches with some botches, but that's why it's not to the few points. So then as Rusev was going to use the ring rope to choke Cena out with the accolade, Cena turned the tables, and Rusev was put in the SCFU with the ring apron, choking him. And he was talking to the microphone. He was speaking in Russian. Was he saying I quit in Russian? But, whether the case, Lana was the one that said I quit. For the second out of 3 of the last Rusev Cena matches, Lana's affected the ending, inadvertently costing Rusev the match at Mania by staying on the apron and getting knocked over, causing Rusev to lose, and at this time, costing Rusev the match, big time by tossing in the towel. Pros and cons, throwing in the verbal towel, should I say. Pros and cons of this match. Pros, it's the last match and the best. They did say the best for last. It was a fight. And Cena, his matches have been great lately. Mostly it's been because he's got great people to work with. Like Neville and Sami Zayn and Ambrose. But we're giving the other guy credit. We gotta give Cena credit too. It's not one guy. It takes 2 to tangle. And Cena, love him or hate him, you gotta respect him. Those matches have been great lately. And his match against Rusev wasn't that bad. The cons though. Was the ending really legal? Lana was the one that said I quit, not Rusev. Unless they said Rusev quit because he said I quit in Russian. So that was a weird little scratch-handed ending. But Lana became a big factor. And that means the breakup could come imminent. Because I thought the big turn would happen tonight. But I'm actually kind of glad Lana didn't become a big factor as I thought she was going to be. Another con. Speaking about momentum going downhill, WWE likes to fuck up people's momentum. With Damien Sandow and Rusev, this is his 3rd straight loss on a WWE pay-per-view against Cena. He's lost all 3 matches against Cena on pay-per-view besides Fastlane. The fucking momentum with Rusev big time. Like, people thought Rusev should have won to regain momentum. But we'll see if he gets to regain momentum with or without Lana. We'll see if we can recover from this. But WWE creative, So there you go. 3.3. So I like this match. But like it was a physical match. It was a fight. Like Cena's I quit matches in last minute, they're like weird endings. But like I said, everyone's talking about, like I said, Rusev and Lana. I think the split is still gonna happen, especially now that Lana that not inadvertently, blatantly caused Rusev the match by throwing the towel. Football. On to our next matchup. The other clunker on the card. The Bellatrix against Naomi and Tamina. If I told you lately, I like Naomi shoes. I like those light up shoes. Man, I like a new look and attitude. Because I thought she was going to get a title match tonight. But we have Tamina back, so we had a tag team match instead. It was okay. It was okay, little Divas match. Bray, who was in the match, had a mind on other things than your Bryan, her husband, who had the fork with the IC title, of course, as we know. It was a decent little match for being a Divas match. It was okay. NXT Divas matches are still better, but at least the Divas they gave him enough time. But Naomi and Tamina dominated the match, isolating Brie in the corner to, of course, Nikki get the hot tag in, and Tamina got distracting people. Like, she was a legal partner, but she did distract. But Naomi capitalizing on some big moves, even doing the wheel view at one point, but then getting a kick out. But Tamina's help nailing Brie out of the picture. Nikki got distracted after seeing her sister get knocked out by Tamina. And Naomi capitalized with a roll-up 1-2-3 victory for Naomi, pinning Bella for the millionth time. And hopefully she get another shot at the Divas Championship and wins it. 2.2 for this match. I think I gave Bray Wyatt and Ryback 2.5. On to our next matchup. King Barrett, Barrett, against AJ Neville. First things first. Kudos to WWE for, like I said earlier, they make some good moves and bad moves. Good move, having Neville be the co-main event. That was cool. They have Neville in the co-main. You went from, because this is like the woman match. They went from being the pre-show match in Extreme Rules to being the co-main event of Payback. Kudos. I think it's because of Neville's great performance against Cena last week. Win or lose, it was still a fun match with him and Cena. But I hope nothing really serious happened to Neville during this match. For what it was, it was a fun match. For what it was, Neville with his high-flying moves. Nothing his high-flying moves got the best of him. Neville at one point was going to be set up by Barrett with the Bowhammer elbow. And they got reconnected with a big kick, big moves, big flying moves. But the moment of the match, that kind of changed it. And I think the ending might have been changed off the bat. Or maybe the ending was intentional. Maybe it was planned all along to be a countout. Because Neville knocked Wade Barrett out of the ring. And he went for a fly. He went for a big splash over the top rope onto Barrett on the floor. But sadly, he fell gingerly on his leg. I noticed it off the bat when he landed. I was like, uh-oh, knee injury. I don't know if it's legit or not, but it looked legit. Legit enough that he won by countout. I don't know if they changed the ending off the bat, or was it going to be a countout? Because after that, Wade Barrett got intentionally counted out. And you could see Neville still gingerly limping on the leg. But then after the match, even though he got counted out, Wade Barrett came in to deliver a bowhammer from behind with a post-match attack. He grabbed his crown, grabbed his gown, and then Neville came back alive. Despite an ankle injury, I'm hearing, it's an ankle injury, he got a big move in, setting him up for the red arrow after a German suplex and bang, post-match attack. So there you go. Neville won by countout. Was it the original ending, or did they change it on the fly after Neville got injured with the ankle thing, after he gingerly landed on his ankle after delivering a great splash onto Barrett. 3.0. It was a good match for what it was. Maybe not as good as the Extreme Rules pre-show, but still. Kudos to WWE. Despite all the mistakes they made on people like Sandow and Ryback and now Rusev, at least they're making a good move by making Neville co-main event. So at least that's one thing they got right, kind of. Even if it was against Barrett. So now on to the main event of the evening and the best match of the night. For the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, a fatal 4-way match between Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton. I didn't think Ambrose was going to be in the match, but he was. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, like the Extreme Rules main event, a lot of interference. Kane, whose job was on the line as Director of Operations if Rollins were to lose this match, and James and Security, they got involved in the match. But in my mind, unlike the Extreme Rules, the interference didn't ruin the match at the pay-per-view tonight as it did Extreme Rules. The interference ruined the match at Extreme Rules. But the interference still, it kind of helped the match. It was a fun Fatal 4. I knew it was going to be a fun Fatal 4, and it was. The moment part everyone's going to be talking about, besides, including the mini Shield reunion. We saw Ambrose and Rollins fight a few times one-on-one. Then it was Ambrose and Reigns at one point, one-on-one. But then the best moment came when all three guys were outside. And for one brief moment, even for that 1 second, we got a mini Shield reunion. And for all time's sakes, they delivered a triple powerbomb through the table on Randy Orton. And then Rollins got turned on by Ambrose and Reigns. But just for that brief moment, to see a mini Shield reunion, just to see him deliver that triple powerbomb one last time, and almost doing the Shield thing, it was great to see. You know what I mean? It was just, nostalgia. I kind of walked out after that. It was kind of cool. And there were some great moments in this match. Like I said, interference from the Kane and Authority didn't really ruin the match, as it did in Extreme Rules. But there was some great action. So it was a fun match for what it was, despite, like I said, interference to me didn't ruin it. Some people probably would argue that the interference ruined the match, like it did in Extreme Rules. But I don't think it did as much as it did in Extreme Rules. Other interference kind of dictated the ending, though. So then I wish they used more weapons. And then after the first powerbomb on the Orton, I think Ambrose and Reigns triple powerbomb Kane onto. They had Rollins set up on the Spanish announce table, and then they powerbombed Kane onto Rollins on top of the Spanish announce table. It didn't break the first time, but the second time it did after the fans chanted one more time. It was a fun match though for what it was after that. So we had everyone's endings, Superman punch. It was chaotic. Superman punch, dirty deeds, every finishing move, but of course the curb stomp. Still pissed that we got rid of that move that they won't let Rollins use anymore. And of course, Agent Security got in. They got all killed by Randy Orton because the move was legal tonight, unlike Extreme Rules. And like I said, the interference, like I said, yeah, it became a little bit too much, but it didn't really. To me, it didn't ruin the match like it did Extreme Rules. So then, Rollins almost did a Hangman DDT on Orton at one point as well. But the old saying goes, ain't nothing like the real thing. Can't beat the real thing. Orton did the Hangman DDT onto Rollins. And then Kane got in. He got nailed with an RKO. Even though Kane didn't purposely distract Orton, the inadvertent distraction from Kane getting the RKO had Seth Rollins capitalizing on it. So we know what side Kane was on, the Authority side. With Kane sacrificing himself to save Seth Rollins' title, getting an RKO from Orton, Seth Rollins with pedigree Randy Orton, and with Ambrose and Reigns out at the time, laid out by Kane and JJ and all that shit. 1, 2, 3, Seth Rollins retains by winning, by cheating again, but with the help of the Authority. And like I said, yes, the interference became a little much. That's why it's getting a 3.8, second a few points off for the interference. But for what it was a fun Fatal 4-Way. It was a fun match. And I knew Kane, when his job was on the line, I knew he was going to be a big factor. And it kind of was, interference. Some people may argue it ruined the match. It didn't ruin it as much, in my opinion. It kind of, like I said, it became too much. But for what it was a fun match, though. Probably one of the best matches of the night. So the best 3 matches of the night, Fatal 4-Way, tag team title match, Cena Rusev. Like I said, some people may criticize me for overrating these matches. And maybe overrating the pay-per-view. But it was a fun pay-per-view what it was. Yes, maybe some of the endings might have been abrupt. Like, the Sheamus Ziggler match. The match between Ryback and Wyatt and Neville and Baddie's Bear. But I was fully, decently entertained. It was a fun pay-per-view. We'll see what happens with the Elimination Chamber. With only 2 weeks notice and 2 weeks build. We know 2 matches set for it. 2 chamber matches. IC title and the tag team titles in the chamber match. Also, we had a WWE title match and a US title match as well. All the titles will be on the line. Hopefully Divas are on the line as well. There you go. Speaking of WWE Network, I shall end with this. Stone Cold Podcast is coming back. After all the news, all the rumors about Stone Cold having some problems with the WWE and problems over the podcast, yada, 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 all the issues are solved, Stone Cold Podcast is back. I like Jericho's podcast. It was more entertaining than it is hard-hitting, but Austin's podcast has been awesome. And what a guest they got for Austin's return to the podcast on June 1st. Paul Heyman. That's going to be awesome. Oh my God, that's going to be epic. That should be epic. With two guys who don't take shit from no one, who talk from their hearts and speak from the heart and don't care about what they say offends people. That should be a hell of a podcast. That's going to be real interesting. And speaking of network shows, they also aired a promo for the Swerved show. I've heard about it for weeks with Jeff Tremaine and Jackass being involved. It's kind of like Punk'd. WWE style. I like the Too Hot for TV, the Jerry Springer show. A fresh spin on the WWE Clip show. It's a fun, entertaining way of doing it. And of course, NXT. There will be NXT TakeOver Unstoppable review Wednesday night. Because I'm watching it for sure. I cannot wait for that, by the way. So there will be NXT Unstoppable review. With that coming up, I think Payback did okay. With NXT coming up, they're trying to step up their game. But NXT is still on top of them, in my opinion. And this next event will still be proving that NXT is the baddest thing around today. The best thing around in wrestling. I'm going to the house show in Cleveland in a couple weeks. I'm traveling from Detroit, Michigan to go see him in Cleveland in June. So can't wait for that. So there you go. Once again, Payback 7.0. It was a fun pay-per-view. Maybe overrating it, but hey. It's my opinion. That's what people on YouTube are for. People have their own opinions. That's my opinion on this pay-per-view tonight. WWE Payback. That is it for this review. Thank you very much for watching this. With that in mind, you have all been attacked by the review from Zach. See you later, everybody. Yeah.